Hussein Farhat definitely cannot be natty because you cannot get vascularity like this without being on steroids. That's what I was told in the comments of one of my last videos talking about how he could be natty, but if that's the case, well, then I guess I must be on steroids too. Along with my 12-year-old daughter who has vascularity just like me, as well as my 13-year-old son. I've made multiple videos on Hussein Farhat and how I think he could be natural based on how much muscle I think he actually built over the 3-year period, how much weight he lost from peak bulk to doing a bodybuilding show, and how he's not really that big considering he did a bodybuilding show at 166 pounds. I'm the same height as him and I did it at 175 pounds. So all the stuff I've gone over, I thought this was very interesting comment that I got on one of my last videos about him, talking about how you can't be that vascular without taking steroids. And what so many people don't understand about veins is that a lot of it is genetics. But let's take a look at this. It's not normal to see bulging veins in young people unless there are serious long-term heart issues. Well, that's scary because my veins have been like this my entire life, and as my muscles have gotten bigger, they become more prominent because if you think about, as your muscles fill up the space under your skin, it's gonna push those veins to the surface even more and make them be shown even more. But this happens with steroids after several months of use because it raises your blood pressure and damages the veins all over your body. Claiming natural is mind-blowing. So yeah, steroids can raise your blood pressure and damage your veins, but just because your veins are large and prominent doesn't necessarily mean you're on steroids. The number one thing when it comes to vascularity really is genetics. I know you hear that about everything now, it's genetics, but some people are just more vascular than others or have bigger veins like I always have since I was a kid. If you take a look at my daughter's veins here, she is very athletic and pushes really hard in gymnastics, and she's lean. So you can see her veins stick out just like mine. And what's actually kind of interesting, if you look closely at our hands, we have the same vein pattern. So hey, it's a good indication she's my kid. My son as well, he's pretty lean. He's got some abs you can see, and his veins stick out very similar to mine. So there is a huge genetic component that plays into it, but even more so than genetics is how lean you are. And that is what people don't realize, especially with this back and forth I had with one of my commenters, is that it's simply a factor of being lean most of the time. The leaner you get, the more you're gonna see your veins. So let's take a look at that with Hussein Farhat, because we just got a new video from Jeff Nippard where we can see Hussein Farhat in a more natural, bulked up looking state, because before this, all we really had were all these pictures of him looking shredded, and he even said he didn't really post pictures or take videos when he was in a bulk state because people like seeing you shredded and all that. But let's look here. Do you see crazy vascularity on him? He looks more normal. You barely even see any outline of abs on him because he's bulked up, and this just even more goes to show when I talked about in the previous videos, he was at 189.5. He lost all the way down to 166 for a bodybuilding show. People are like, he was shredded even at his peak bulk. This is what he looked like peak bulk. I don't even think he's back up to that weight yet. So look at him here. He's not super shredded. He's not overly enhanced looking. The leaner you get, the crazier you look. So people are used to seeing this where he posts on a lot of his videos. So look, we see his abs are not super defined, but you've got a good outline of the six pack there. You've got veins in the arms going into the chest, and it looks pretty crazy, right? He's leaner, he's pumped up. You're gonna see veins, especially if you're naturally more vascular. But let's look at it here. Here's a video, pretty much the exact same pose. This is the same background and everything. You can see this bar here behind him, the seat, he's just got some purple overlaid on it. So look at him there. Does he look as vascular? Yeah, he's pretty vascular, but he has said that he puts filters on his photos to enhance everything, make him look more shredded. And so his veins look even more prominent there than when he's posing there. But you see 176 pounds, that's like 10 pounds less than what he is right now, and 10 pounds above what he was when he did a bodybuilding show. So when you're getting to that sub 10% body fat, your veins are gonna start showing even more. For example, you can see the same thing with me right here. This was me, 158 pounds when I started really training hard. I'm lean, you can see abs, you know, muscle, all that, all good. But then here, 3 years later, when I had bulked all the way up to 190 and I was cutting down for a bodybuilding show, I'm 20 pounds heavier, but I'm way leaner. And look at these veins going all up my abs, into my chest. You can see them in my legs here, standing out more. My veins didn't magically get bigger. You just see them because there's way less body fat on me. I was getting shredded for a bodybuilding show, and a couple weeks later, I looked like this after the bodybuilding show, which is pretty freaky, and my wife didn't like it, and it does kind of creep me out. But look how big the bicep veins are and all these veins going across. Like, you can't see that in my peaked, bulked out state. You don't see all those veins in the bottom, you don't see them in my legs. The leaner and leaner you get, the more those stand out. Now, it's not like, oh, more veins means better or anything like that, but it looks so unnatural because the majority of people are obese or overweight. So when you see someone who's just lean, like this first picture, like, oh man, that person's in really good shape. And then when you see someone like this, you start getting steroid accusations because no one looks like this normally. Like, it takes an extra level of leanness and muscularity to look like that, because you got the genetics, you got the muscle to push on the veins even more, and then you got the leanness to see it. And on top of that, temperature plays a big role into it as well, because I get pumped up and I'm in my garage in the summer, my veins look pretty crazy. But I get up in the morning and it's cold, like you can barely see my veins at all, even though I'm lean. So there's a huge temperature component that goes into that as well. Lighting's also gonna play a role into it as well. Like here, I was at the pool with the kids and you can see the lights coming in from the side and it's highlighting all these veins going all throughout my chest. I wasn't pumped up or anything. We were just playing around swimming in the pool and you can see relaxed how much my veins are standing out. And then when I get pumped up, it gets even crazier to where you start looking like this, because this was a week later after we were at the pool. So I mean, you can see how much being lean affects your vascularity, even for someone who's already naturally more vascular. But then here's me in this shot where we're filming for a movie we're working on right now. I look pretty normal, I'm lean, but again, you don't see crazy vascularity all over. My six pack isn't like super shredded standing out, but I look like a healthy guy, no big deal. So when you get, someone like Hussein Farhat to a normal body fat percentage, even though he's more vascular, as you gain the fat back, you're not gonna see those veins. Jeff Nippard even pointed this out in this video, talking about vascularity. Like, I've never really seen Jeff Nippard look this lean because he's usually in a higher body fat percentage, but his arm veins are standing out a bunch. You see Hussein's, you see them here, he's probably already pumped up in this video, but they're not crazy prominent when you see a video of him versus those doctored photos that he posts. And here, even if he did doctor, it's not gonna look as big as when he was 10 pounds lighter. And Jeff Nippard even made these same points.
When you're leaner, you'll also be more vascular, which is actually not nearly as related to steroids as many people think.
Phil Heath is arguably the best. You could make the case he's the best bodybuilder ever, the most gifted anyway, and he just wasn't a vascular guy. Neither was Jay Cutler. You'll get more roid accusations if you are vascular. People for some reason think it's related. It's mostly just genetic, honestly. It's mostly genetic and low body fat.
Someone like Hussein gets a lot of fake Natty accusations online.
See, and even they're talking about Hussein as well. Look at his veins here. He gets pumped up and he takes a picture and you can see how much these photos are enhanced. You got contrast way up, sharpness changes. He said he uses filters that makes him look leaner. So I mean, you can do a lot with the photo, but when you look at the videos of them there, where it's not all doctors, especially when it's someone else's video, you don't see the craziness that you see in the photos. So just going back to the comments here, I had commented back that, vascularity is a factor of being lean. My blood pressure has always been on the lower end of the normal range and my veins stand out whenever I get a pump. And this guy says, for most, that's not true at all. Most people, their veins remain vascular even out of the gym. Well, we can see right here, Hussein Farhat, like we saw here in the video, Hussein Farhat's veins are not nearly as vascular when he's at a higher body fat percentage, even outside of the gym. And we went back and forth for a while and I eventually ended up getting in contact with a guy on Instagram just because I wanted him to understand how much leanness plays into it, showing what I look like 20 pounds above my stage weight versus that crazy picture the night of my bodybuilding show where veins were just popping out everywhere because I was super dehydrated. That plays another role into it. So like, you get lean, you can see the veins more. Then you get dehydrated and all of a sudden, your skin is just shrink wrapped over your veins because there's no fat, there's no water there, and all you have is muscle and veins standing out, and it just looks crazy. But then once you get more water back in your system, you get to a higher body fat percentage, you look normal, all of a sudden the steroid accusations go away because you're starting to look more like normal everyday, just fit people. So keep in mind, when you're seeing pictures of people that look crazy, they're making all these crazy claims, just realize that a lot of this stuff is possible, but people take these photos when they're leaner in the best possible light. They take lots of pictures and use a lot of the same ones for thumbnails and videos, for examples of before and afters. A lot of my thumbnails use this picture right here because it has good lighting. I look pretty lean and it works for examples of looking good for certain diets or whatever. But people don't constantly look like that. Like we saw with Hussein, he's bulking and he's cutting. So he looks very different depending on the setting and the lighting and the pump and everything. So just remember, I think he can be natural. Based on what I've said, I think he only gained about 28 pounds of muscle in those first 3 years, and he's bulking again now, so he really hasn't put on a ton of muscle, even if he's like 20 pounds above his stage weight now. I bulked up for a powerlifting meet about 20 pounds after I finished my bodybuilding show over a 6-month period, and I thought, man, I'm gonna have so much muscle, but most of it was fat. And I dieted down about 12, 13 pounds and started looking like the normal leanness again, like I was there. And I've slowly over the next year and a half been building up. I think there's only like 5 pounds difference between these two pictures over a year and a half, but I look the same relative leanness. So the further on you go, the less muscle you're gonna be gaining the longer you've been doing it. But that doesn't mean you should stop. You just keep pushing yourself harder and make those little bits of progress and be happy with where you are. Don't compare yourself with someone like him. Like, my chest is never gonna be as massive and full as Hussein Farhat's, but my legs are also way bigger than his. Everyone's got their strong points, and it's just gonna take time to build those up. But let me know what you think in the comments. You know, is he natty or is he not? Do you think vascularity can only come from being on steroids, or did this enlighten you some on, hey, you actually can look vascular if you just get lean enough? Hope that helps, and I'll see you soon.